Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet, and today, very interesting historical set of documents. My grandmother passed away about a year and a half ago. By chance this morning I received an email from my brother, forwarded on via my mother. My grandmother's computer has been backed up, it's been put on the cloud, and I have access to it. I have access to all her photos, all her emails, and I thought to myself, what does this information actually mean? I had small insights into my grandmother's life. I spent my summers through my teenage years and, periodically in my adult life, not my summers, but at least a couple of weeks with her. And I have a general sense of her mainly after her death. She was a bit of an enigma through her life. But after her passing, I received a series of things that made me realise that I was an important person in my grandmother's life. I guess I knew that to some regard, but it's not that I felt distant from her, it's just that our relationship was based on a series of quite curious interactions, particularly through my later adolescence, and I never really knew where I stood with her. She said on a number of occasions that I reminded her too much of my father, which was very curious, as I appeared in physical form at least, very similar to her husband. But now, having these emails, having these photographs, I don't know what I'll do with them. I don't know whether I should read them. I don't know whether I should look at the photographs. It gives a certain degree of intimate detail on a variety of folk who are still alive. They're not in any way censored. This isn't a WikiLeaks-like thing. This is the correspondence that my grandmother had with others, and that people had with my grandmother, myself included. So with these documents, with these photographs, I probably should just peruse them without holding anything too strongly. But also there's a part of me that says maybe I just shouldn't look at them at all. What good can come of this? What positive outcome can come through these emails? Aside from perhaps the sense that I was interacting with my grandmother on some level, but associated with other folk, associated with other family members, other things that went on, I really don't need that level of detail. I would be wrong to say that there wasn't a certain voyeuristic element here that I really want to distance myself from. And that, in large part, will probably keep me from going through the emails. The photographs I'll look at, but the emails are probably too intimate. I even find this with my own email. There was a period of time when I lived in the US from 1999 through to 2001, where, for one reason or another, I decided to print all the emails that I had. Actually, just my email correspondence, not the email correspondence with me. And I did this in part to kind of mentally detoxify from that period. It was a very curious time in my life. It was a time in my life where I had absolutely no sense of future. Everything was volatile, everything was the day-to-day, everything had to be associated with the next day's survival. And it's funny that over this period of time I met my wife. But for me, email correspondence always has this negative light. It always has the potential to be a kind of kick-in-the-guts moment when you realise something terrible is documented. And I don't know where this emotion comes from, aside from my own experience with email. Truth be told, through my professional career, I use email extensively. But in terms of my personal life, I'm not particularly good with email anymore. And in large part, that's because I'm completely inundated with spam. But also it's because I don't really feel I have time for personal email anymore. I prefer to talk to people one-on-one, occasional, Facebook chat correspondence, but email, I don't know, it's just tarnished as a medium for me. With this perspective in mind, I might provide a future Short Funk update, potentially explaining my grandmother's email, my grandmother's photographs, but potentially just saying that I didn't end up looking at them. Truth be told, probably over the next year I might have an interest in looking at them. But in the near future, I just have too many other things to do. Like, for example, record Short Funk podcasts. Tom Barbalet in San Jose, signing out.